have the Shemitahs. That's every 7 years, meant for blessing by God. But if we're not following God's laws, it turns into a curse. Horrible things have happened in the history of Israel. Well, we're coming into a Shemitah right now. When does it start?
The Shemitah begins September 25th. I can remember it happens to be my birthday, so it's easy. September 25th, and then it goes till September 13th, 2015. Now, let me tell you, a few things. One is 2 cautions. God doesn't have to do anything. It doesn't necessarily have to happen every time. However, other caution is he can. And the thing is that what the pattern is generally this. At the beginning of the Shemitah, you don't necessarily know.
Listen, if I was God, I wouldn't even be waiting for a Shemitah with all of it. I mean, what we're doing is we're poking our finger in God's eyes as a nation here in the United States. I mean, I'm glad that I'm not God. God's got so much more mercy than me. But if you study the Bible, he does have a point of judgment.
Yeah, and that's the dangerous thing, because when you combine this all together, where America's going, when you combine the harbingers appearing and continuing, when you combine the Shemitah, that's the thing. The thing is this: in the last 2 Shemitahs, this is 2001, and then it's 2007 and 8. Yeah. You had the mystery is getting more and more precise and intense. It's a buildup, because in 2001 you have the greatest stock market collapse in history happens on the exact day appointed in the Bible, Elul 29, to wipe out the financial accounts. 7 years later, 2008, you have the other greatest crash in American history, bigger, and it happens on the exact same day appointed in the Bible. The 2 greatest crashes happen exactly 7 Hebrew years apart, down to the days, the hours, to the seconds. So the mystery is getting more intense.
He's going so fast. Yeah. I want you to catch. It is so precise what he's saying. It's the year, the day, the second. I mean, what an awesome God we serve.
Yeah, and the thing is, what this indicates, Sid, is there's an intensifying. That means that the nation, we are progressing towards judgment. And that's exactly what's happening. It's in America. So, now, again, God doesn't have to do anything when we say, but I'd be aware.
All right, tell me the exact date it starts and it ends.
September 25th, and that's the start this year. And usually, again, at the beginning, it's not necessarily so noticeable, but if something is chosen for this year, then it's usually as it builds up to its peak, that's usually when things happen, okay? Which is September 13th of 2015. Now, there's also, we've talked about this before, happens to be with the blood moon period as well. Because the blood moon period is a year and a half. Well, we're in that half part, but the year, what's left, is totally Shemitah. So it's all happening at the same time as Shemitah.
It's like a convergence of warnings.
It seems. And the other thing is that, here's another thing, Sid. In the Bible, one of the signs of judgment is the darkening of the sun. Now, we're not saying every eclipse is. However, there's something there. Here's the thing. Get this. When that peak day comes, Elul 29, it's going to be a solar eclipse on marking that day, the great day of nullification. At the end of the Shemitah is going to be a solar eclipse the same day. When we talked about the tower, putting this all together. When that tower, when they just recently put the spire to make it the tallest in America, the day they put it up was another solar eclipse. And when the last time, Sid, when a solar eclipse happened on Elul 29, it was 1987, you had the greatest wipeout of Wall Street in history right after that. So not saying things have to, but things
all right. This begs the question. You have been studying this, but not just studying as a scholar, which you are, but by revelation. I want you to tell me what you think is going to happen.
I believe, whether it happens in this period or not, and I'd be ready, I believe, without any question, a great shaking is coming to America. And this shaking will affect the economy, will affect the financial realm, and could be very well more than either of those realms, but it will affect that. Something like a famine in the land. I believe even services and infrastructure will stop. So I believe a great warning, and it's in God's mercy. Because at this point, without shaking, I don't believe there can be revival. God's heart is revival. But we have to be ready. Anything that can be shaken will be shaken.
Okay, we only have 2 minutes left. What is this
seventh
Shemitah or /
Okay, there's so much, and there's so many, so I'll just touch on this. Okay, when you get to the 7th Shemitah, that's 7 times 7 years, 49 years, it leads to the Jubilee. So even the Jubilee is linked to the mystery of the Shemitah. Jubilee is about restoring, getting back your land, getting back your home, you're restored to your inheritance. Well, 2,000 years ago, Israel lost its inheritance, lost the land. Well, what happened is, remember that the Jubilee only starts at the year after a Shemitah. Well, the restoration of Israel begins 1917 with a Balfour Declaration when they give the land back to Israel, Britain. 1917 follows the year of the Shemitah. It's the next thing. It's like Jubilee. It's restoration of the land. If you go 7 Shemitahs later from 1917, it brings you to 1967, the restoration of Jerusalem, right after the year of the Shemitah.
Oh, that's nice.
The restoration. And the next one is coming. The next, if you go 7 more Shemitahs, it comes to the next Shemitah is 2015. The year after is 2016. I'm not saying God has to, but it's amazing what he's done. And he's just amazing. He's in charge of everything.
So this 7th Shemitah that is coming up could be the wrap-up, not just for America, but everything.
It could be prophetic. And again, we can't put God in a box, but isn't it amazing? The Shemitah holds the mystery, really, of everything.